All right, guys. Sorry, I've got a new camera here. I haven't made a YouTube Eagles video in a long time, but this one has to be made because probably one of the most annoying games I've watched in a while. I was just watching Joey Shakes' stream, listening to him rant, so shout out to him. But I wanted to make my own video on this particular game because this one just pissed me off, and I'm seeing a lot of people throw around the term haters when it comes to criticizing the Eagles. And that's kind of what inspired me to make this video, because you got to realize, guys, you already know, we were 10-1 last year, and we completely imploded after, I think it was the 49ers. That was the team that did us in. But I'm not saying that's going to happen in this year, but this is why I don't like the term hater, because it's like if you criticize something, you're just immediately called a hater. When it's like, no, if you have criticisms of a team, that's not being a hater. Now, I know a lot of Eagles fans are Spurgs. Believe me, I know. I did a lot of YouTubing back in like 2017, 2018, 19, 20, around that time. So I totally get it. I've been an Eagles fan for over a decade. I understand the fan base very well. But I think it's also a great strength of the Eagles is that we expect quality from the team. So I don't like using the term haters. I think it's completely fine to criticize this team, and so there's my opening little spiel, because now I'm going to get into the game, because this was a disaster, guys, in many ways. Jalen Hurts, I've been critical of Jalen Hurts in the past, mostly just because I think he's like a running back quarterback hybrid. So it's not that I'm like criticizing him as a player per se. It's just more that you guys probably know, if you're like old school viewers of mine, is that I'm like a Nick Foles guy. So like I would take the pocket quarterback. So anytime your quarterback is a running quarterback, I'm always more critical of that, just because things like this happen, right? Where your quarterback gets injured because he decides to run, because he kind of has to run, because that's the kind of quarterback he is. And he gets injured, and then you get a Kenny Pickett in there, which that's really the point of this video. Like, to this day, I have no clue why the hell Nick Sirianni has this fetish with pocket quarterbacks if you're going to run a run offense. He goes with Gardner Minshew first, which is like a slightly, I'd say a lot better, actually, a better version of Kenny Pickett. But then he goes out and gets Kenny Pickett when he could have got Justin Fields last year for cheaper. I can't remember all the exact details of that, but I know that he could have got Justin Fields, and that would have made perfect sense. Hell, like Jameis Winston would make more sense on this Eagles team than Kenny Pickett. You need a guy that can run. That's what I'm trying to get at. If you're going to run this kind of offense, you need every quarterback, first, second, third, whatever. You need every quarterback to be able to run the offense. Okay? Now, a lot of people will bring up 2017. They're like, oh, Nick Foles ran it. They switched the offense for Nick Foles. Yeah, they kind of did, but not really, because they went back to Chip Kelly, which was an offense he was already familiar with. So that's a completely different situation. Plus, Nick Foles had already played for the Eagles before, so he had an idea of what the team was, right? He knew a lot of the guys. Like, a lot of the same guys were on that 2017 team that were on the 2014 team that he got cut from. So this scenario, you either need to go out and draft a guy, or you need to sign a quarterback that can run. I haven't looked at the backup quarterback board in a while, but I know that there's way better options out there than Kenny Pickett. So I don't know if Howie can do it now. It's probably too late. Like what Joey Shakes was saying, I kind of agree. Like, the first seed was always a long shot, so like who cares at this point? But I don't really want to see Jalen Hurts resting for the rest of the season, because he needs the playing time. And this team got humbled at a good time. But, I mean, losing to the Redskins was a stupid loss, because now we're probably going to have to see them in the playoffs at Washington yet again, because they're going to probably win the division. I'm just saying that because no NFC East team wins back-to-back. It hasn't happened in like 20 years or something crazy like that, maybe longer. But I think the last time that happened actually was when like Andy Reid coached the Eagles. It's been forever. So Washington will probably win the division, which means the Eagles have to go play in Washington most likely. We've got like the Bucks, which, it's like a 50-50 team. We've got the Redskins, which I don't want to play the Redskins again. Then we've got like the Vikings. The Vikings we could usually beat with Kirk Cousins, but now they've got Sam Darnold, so who the hell knows. The Lions would be a very exciting game if it did happen. There's all these teams, right? In the West, I don't know, the Seahawks or the Rams. I'm not really worried about the West, whoever wins that division. The point I'm making, though, is that like I agree that we don't need the number 1 seed, but like it still kind of just pisses me off that the Eagles just fell apart like that. People are going to say, like, oh, they did good, blah, 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 blah. I don't care about that. At the end of the day, the only stat that matters to me is the W. And the momentum, I don't know how to... You guys know what I'm talking about, probably, like some of you guys. Like, the momentum shift, it matters. Like, the energy matters. So, like, the moment Jalen Hurts went out, you had that first drive from Kenny. And I was like, okay, he threw a touchdown, right? And it was like, okay, that's it. Now take him out, because we didn't know Jalen was out yet. We didn't know he was in concussion protocol. You take him out now and you bring back Jalen. But then Jalen didn't come back. So immediately I was like, okay, now the game completely changes. Even though it was 14-0 at that point, the game completely changes. And the first thing he does, guys, is he throws a freaking interception, okay? I mean, it's so predictable. Sometimes I really do wonder if the NFL's rigged. That's a video for another day. But, like, these things are so predictable. Like, he throws the worst pick, and then immediately it's 7-14. It's like, boom, right there. The momentum changes, and it's just like that for the whole game. You have a series of 3-and-outs. Saquon Barkley, he gets an amazing touchdown right after that, but then he's completely shut down for the whole game. A.J. Brown looked good, but I didn't see a lot of people bringing it up. A.J. Brown had 3 PIs on him. And if you watch them, like, they're PIs, but at the same time, it's like the refs just doing typical ref crap. Like, who even knows what a PI is anymore? Nobody even knows. It's like the ref can just call the penalties they want to call when they feel like they need to call them. That's like the big problem with the NFL now. And so you can't give Kenny G. You can't give Pickett, not Kenneth Gainwell. Kenneth Gainwell's good. You can't give Pickett credit for a lot of those AJ throws because they were PIs. I mean, that was just the refs, like, keeping us in the game, essentially. So I throw all those out. He had a couple good passes to Smitty. Unfortunately, the one that mattered at the end, Smitty dropped. A rare Smitty drop. It really sucks because I was just talking to my friends this week about how great Smitty is, and then he drops the ball. So, like, I look like an idiot now. But the point I'm really trying to make with this is this was a really crappy loss, and I'm going to be critical of it, The Eagles are 12-3, right? They would easily be 14-1 if Saquon doesn't drop the Falcons ball and Smitty doesn't drop this Redskins ball, but it is what it is, and I'm just looking at, okay, we've got the Cowboys and we've got the Giants. We don't really need to win those games, but we also don't want to just rest players going into the playoffs, because study the Colts, guys. If you really want to see how this matters, go study the Indianapolis Colts with Peyton Manning. They used to do this all the time. They would basically just chill, because like every year they were like blowing teams out for the regular season, and they would get into the playoffs, no problem. But always at the end, they'd start resting. They'd get their, this was back when you could get two seeds. So like they'd always get they'd always get the bye week every week, and then they'd rest. And then Manning would come out and he would choke. My dad always says it, 9 one-and-dones. He always says that to me about the Colts. I mean, if you think about it, that's 10 years. That's 10 years of watching your team do what the Eagles have been doing, right? Winning during the season, but then completely blowing in the playoffs, because that's what the playoffs are, guys. It's one chance, you're done. So it's completely fine to be critical of this. It's completely fine to be worried about this. You know, I'll be called a hater maybe for this video. I don't even know. I hate the term hater. It means nothing. Like, you think I hate the Eagles? Come on. So, yeah, that's kind of really what I have to say. Like, I'm not going to go, like, blow by blow for the game, because the game was just, it was a train wreck of a game. Like, it was so predictable. It was like, you could just feel the momentum shift. It was either the Eagles were going to survive or they were going to lose in a tragic way, which, you know, obviously the latter happened. But you knew the moment Jalen Hurts goes out and Kenny throws that pick, it's like, okay, this game is now going to be annoying. Oh, yeah, and then CJ gets ejected. CJ's talking crap, and the Redskin guy, like, punches him, and he gets ejected. Like, the whole thing was just, you know, the refs were screwing up the whole game as usual. So, yeah, and yeah, a lot of people brought up, too, that if Jalen doesn't go out, we could have beat them. We probably would have blown them out. I mean, completely blown them out, like 48-0 maybe. Who knows? It was going that way. See? Like, that's... So, anyway, to kind of end the video, like, I'm not going to talk crap on Jalen Hurts anymore. I think I've realized how valuable he is. It's not that I think he's, like, the best quarterback in the league or anything like that, because I still have, like, my criticisms of him. But as far as this team goes and this offense and what this offense has to do to win, he is 100% necessary. And Howie Roseman did not do his due diligence to go get a solid backup. So this is the weak part, if you could say, right? The Eagles team right now is pretty much flawless when healthy at this point on almost every position, except this one position, which is backup quarterback. Like, you could have injuries at other positions on this team, and they'll find a way. That's what I've seen. Maybe with, like, the exception of, like, Lane Johnson. If, like, Lane Johnson went out, we'd probably be screwed as well. But, you know, there's a lot of players that can go in and out, and we'd be fine. But Jalen Hurts, no. He has to be healthy, and he has to play. And so, yeah, that's kind of all I have to say. I don't know how many, I haven't been back in a while, so I don't know how many views this video will get, but, you know, whatever. Comment down below. Let me know what you guys think, right? Like, don't be afraid to be a hater. You can be critical of the Eagles. You can call me a hater, too, if you want, even though I think it's an absolutely stupid term. Get it out of your vocabulary, Eagles fans, because even you're a hater if you're like a Cowboys fan, because it's like, duh, you're a Cowboys fan, of course you're gonna hate the Eagles. Like me, I hate the Saints. I'm a Saints hater. A lot of people don't know this. I hate the Saints more than I hate the Cowboys, the Redskins, or the Giants. Any NFC team, the Saints is my most hated team. So yeah, that's what a hater is. It's where you just look at something and you just disgust, right? So anyway, there you go. That's the video. Let me go know what you guys think, and if I feel like making more videos as this continues, I'll do that. So yep, thanks for watching. Have a good one.